I was one of seven kids, the American dream 10 times over. And my current grieving process is to look very closely about, what is the most valuable way I'm going to spend my, 16 or 17 hours of the day now. Like I've been really looking in closely and saying, I am going to squeeze life, and I think I'm becoming more choosy about where I'm going to invest my time. And
But
so,
I hope you're not viewing as like squeezing life in terms of I'm going to be as productive as possible.
no, no. I
But
mean, it's more like, um, sometimes I clean the kitchen every night, right? And a lot of times I'll mop the floor, right? And I'm going, like a couple days ago, I was like, does it really matter if I mop the floor tonight? Or would I be better off like, doing a puzzle with my 6-year-old daughter? Really, it doesn't matter. Like, and my wife
yeah,
could care less, right? I mean, and so I'm asking these types of, relatively minor questions, but like,
yeah,
do I want to spend 15 or 10 minutes of my life at 7 o'clock at night, and just
yeah,
trying thinking about what is, does it matter if my floor is dirty? Like it doesn't matter. Does it matter? Does so many things really, really matter? Or does it matter more that, my daughter and I are watching, some YouTube video together, just the fact that she's sitting on my lap, right? I mean,
isn't that yeah?
but
Isn't
I
that awesome? So,
yeah, I mean, I do have to kind of mention, I mean, Dave, I live a very charmed life. I mean, I've never really, struggled per se. I've had countless amounts of fairy godmother and fairy godfathers look after me. My last promotion was in 2010, and the way that my position is structured, there's an expectation for me to do solid work, but I get paid every 2 weeks, no matter
yeah,
what. And so
yeah,
my biggest challenge, which is somewhat probably very unusual in some cases, is that my biggest problem is myself.
yeah,
What is defining success for me is what I struggle with. Because I have
yeah.
really nice bosses. The director of my institution, they're also good to me, so I worry sometimes when I'm somewhat cavalier about my lifestyle, but I've been afforded tremendous amounts of luxury and I have a very luxurious professional position right now.
Yeah, I think about that a lot as well. I think, in general, I always compare myself to, especially recently the last few years where I've been very thoughtful about this stuff because I've been open and speaking about it, but I've been thinking about like what would have my grandparents went through? Well, they were in dire poverty
Yeah.
for many, many years, like real bad poverty, right? Um, and my my grandma was she was an orphan because her mom died. Like I think about how luxurious we have life today, and we're sitting in a privileged position where we can think about this, right? Like 100 years, you wouldn't even consider thinking about this. It was more life or death.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and
Uh, Totally agree.
how Yeah, like I always reflect on that. Like what a powerful. So my on my other side is my dad came from Poland. They left in 1935
Oof.
because they were in trouble with the police. You know, duh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, so I think about like how privileged, if this is the case, that we live in this very privileged position. And I know that if you're to watch the news, the world was gonna. It seems like the world's gonna fall apart, and things, like we're teetering at the edge of
Yeah.
world collapse right now. But I think about like if we can just realize just how privileged this is, and we can turn a lot of the things that we're doing right now into amazing opportunities. I think about, particularly in your area, there's the young gentleman. So I teach innovation,
Yeah.
and there's this young gentleman out of the Netherlands that started doing the great cleanup in
Mhm.
high school.
Yeah.
In high school, now he's like cleaning up the ocean. And I was like, if
Yeah.
that one person, that one lone nut, can do this, like what else can we actually do if we apply our minds to it and we become part of that?
I absolutely
Um,
agree. I think that again, I think there are great opportunities out there. And